Welcome, everyone. Today is Monday, December 5th, 2022, and this is a regular meeting of the City of the Asbury Park Planning Board. Chairwoman Karzak, would you please call the meeting to order?
Yes, this meeting is being held in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Coaster and Asbury Park Press by publication of the annual meeting notice and posted on the municipal bulletin board and municipal website. All notices are on file with the board secretary. Official action may be taken on the following matters before this board. Fire exits are located on east and west sides of council chambers as well as the back of the building. I will ask everyone with a cell phone or other device to kindly silence their device for the duration of this meeting. This meeting is being recorded via APTV for your viewing pleasure in the near future. Please join me for a Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now take roll call. Mayor John Moore.
Here.
Councilwoman Yvonne Clayton.
Here.
James Bonanno.
Here.
Jim Henry.
Here.
Jennifer Souter.
Here.
Alexis Taylor. Eric Gallipo.
Here.
Daniel Shenameo is absent. Vice Chair Rick Lambert, absent. And Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
Here. Okay, the first item on our agenda is 545 Lake Avenue Urban Renewal LLC. There's been a request to carry that on to December 12th without new notice. This still is just happening? Okay, all right. Can I get a motion to carry on till 12/12/22 without new notice?
If I may, Mr. Karas, on the record, will you consent to an extension of any time within which the board has to act under the MOU? Thank you.
Okay, so we got Mr. Henry
Got it?
and second, somebody?
Second.
Got it. And Mayor John Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton.
Yes.
James Bonanno.
Yes.
Jim Henry.
Yes.
Jennifer Souter.
Yes.
Eric Gallipo.
Yes.
Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
Yes. All right, our next application is 614 Cookman LLC. This was carried from November 7th, and we're going to hear it today. And that was that with new notice?
No.
No? Okay.
Good evening, if I may, Andrew Terrace of the firm of Russell, we have the applicant, 614 Cookman LLC. We're here for a continuation of the hearing with regard to the property at 614 Cookman Avenue, Block 2404, Lot 6. This is an application for preliminary and final major site plan approval. Just for the board's recollection, it's an existing commercial building that is on the property, 0.46 acres. It's a through lot between Cookman and Lake Ave. Within the CBD redevelopment zone, it's actually borders or it's on two separate districts within the CBD redevelopment area. You have the CBD mixed use district on Lake Ave, and you have the Cookman Ave retail core district, which is obviously on Cookman Avenue. So it's a through lot, you have the application of both areas to this particular property. What we are proposing is essentially a renovation of an existing building to add parking on the ground floor, retail, and also office uses within the building. When we were here last time, we presented a few witnesses on the matter. We presented initially our engineer, from Mid-Atlantic, went through some plans. We do have some minor revisions to those plans. Those plans have been presented to the board, I say presented, submitted to the board on October 27, subsequent to the initial hearing that we had on this matter. We also have some minor updates to architectural plans. Again, those plans have been voted and submitted on October 27th. With that being said, I'd like to start off with my engineer, go through those minor changes to the plans, and then follow up with our architect in terms of the architectural detail of the building with those revised plans. So if I may?
While we're waiting for your engineer to come up, I'll get my staff sworn in. Doug and Don, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give this matter with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your names for the record and your affiliation with the board.
Doug Clement, Inside Engineering, Board Engineer.
Thank you.
Can you please give your name to the board?
Sure. My name is excuse me, Michael Wazalowski. I'm with Mid-Atlantic Engineering Firm.
And you testified previously on this matter, okay?
Yes.
Michael, I'm going to re-swear you. That's the way I do things.
Sure.
Raise your right hand. Solemnly swear the testimony about to give this matter with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
And it's W-I-S-E-L-O-S-K-I?
W-E-S-E.
Oh.
L-O-S-K.
Michael, at the last hearing, you presented plans relative to this application for 614 Cook, correct?
Yes.
And as a result of certain comments that were made and certain discussions that were presented here before the board, you made certain revisions, I should say, to the plans that you had presented last time, am I correct?
That's correct.
And the plans that we have now are revised plans for the last revision date, 10/24/2022, am I correct?
Yes.
All right, what I'm going to do is have that marked as A4. I think we're up to A4. We had A1 was the initial site plan, A2 was the colorized rendering, A3 was the architectural sheet. So this should be A4 for identification.
That's updated site plan?
Or that's correct. All right, Michael, take a look at what the mark is A4 for identification. Can you please go through this menu for the board, those things that were changed?
Just one thing, what page are we on? Can you look on the bottom?
We're looking at
3 of 7?
3 of 7, yes.
Okay.
Michael, what's the date on this revision? I'm sorry.
As Mr. Carroll said, that is 10/24/22.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so what I have here is, again, that exact plan that was submitted. The only difference that you're seeing here is, in red markups, I've highlighted what's changed, so it's easier for you to see and easier for me to take you through. The vast majority of these changes are changes that you'll see shortly from our architect, so that our plans and their plans coincide. Beginning again on sheet 3, I'll start at the north end of the property for the Cookman Avenue frontage. Stairwell in the northwest or top left corner was minorly reconfigured. As a result of that, the 2 adjacent parking spaces, which were previously 8 foot in width by 18 foot in depth, have now been revised to 8 by 16. And we've redesignated those to be compact spaces. Moving slightly south within the same level, and about in the middle, we've added the stairway, and the resulting requirements of that stairway's dimensions have caused us to lose a parking space adjacent to it. Bearing in mind here that given the use of the application as commercial, there is no parking requirement that's thereby affected by these revisions.
But we're going, as a result of that revision, we're going from 39 parking spaces in this garage to 38 parking spaces, am I correct?
Correct, 2 of those now also being compact.
What were those numbers again?
Originally 39, we're down to 38, 2 of those being
Continuing south, some minor reconfiguration of an interior ramp and landing area. And then moving to the exterior Lake Avenue frontage, we've added 2 canopies that protrude out from the building approximately 30 inches and are contained on property. They do not encroach into the right of way. Those were added to include a soffit downward directed lighting at the 2 doorways that you see here. And finally, along the same frontage, at the direction of your planner, we've changed the proposed street tree to be American sycamore, and are also going to be removing and replacing the 2 existing street trees with that same species of American sycamore. Now going to move to plan sheet 4, which is the main level that would be accessed from Cookman Avenue to the north. A little bit even more simple here. The changes that we've shown really just again mirror the architectural changes in that the interior line work of the walls, as well as the addition and shifting of a few of the doors here to work with each of the proposed spaces. And maybe the biggest change that you would see here is at the northwest corner of the building. This door is now pushed back so that all of these doors lie within the same vertical plane of the building.
Any further revisions, plans?
No, that was it.
That's all I have for this witness.
Just one thing, if you could refresh my memory on the prior, on page 3?
Sheet 3?
Yes, please. On, when we're facing Lake Avenue, how far are we from the current, where the current building is to where the new building, where it's going, how far is it going to extend into the sidewalk that is there today?
Give me one moment, I'll have to open up the prior full plan set. I'm just going to give you some relative dimensions from curb to face of the building. This PDF is locked.
Well, it looks like, I mean, how far from the current building to, how far is it going to extend from where the current building is?
Yes, from the right of way to the existing building is this dimension here, 14.8.
14.8, now that's the right of way, so are you encroaching on the right of way at all?
No.
We'll provide further clarification with the architect.
Okay.
In terms of exact detail, but you can go ahead.
But you're at 14 roughly, you're not in the right of way, and this is within what's allowed? Yes? Okay. My concern is because some of the other buildings in that area are pretty far into the sidewalk, and it's not that appealing. So I just wanted to find out how far out we're going. Okay.
Sure, and then just to give you a complete answer to your question, in the proposed condition, the greater, I should say the least dimension here is about 2 feet 9 inches from the right of way to the proposed building.
All right, so it's not the whole span is not going to be extended?
That is correct. And it leaves room for that canopy to come out 2.5 feet, which is again, still within the building.
Not out of the right of way. Okay.
Would you be able to add a dimension from the right-of-way line to those canopies? It looks like it would be a few tenths.
Correct. Sure.
I think we should show that.
And so do we know, I don't know if you've got a dimension anywhere, what the distance is from the curb line to the right, to the property line, right-of-way line? How much public sidewalk?
Curb lines are right of way?
Yeah.
Sure, let me just confirm the scale. And the 20 scale. From the face of curb to the right of way is about 8 feet 4 inches.
Okay. So there's that little brick strip with the street trees, and there's a nice width of sidewalk still in front of the building, not counting the,
Yeah, ordinarily, that brickwork work is around 3 feet, and then you have a 5-foot sidewalk. They're usually spanned right down there.
so there's still a pretty good width of public sidewalk
Yes.
in front of the building. I mean, it's not like some little 4-foot, 3.5-foot thing.
Correct. Plenty of room for two-way pedestrian traffic.
Does anybody else have any questions?
The only thing, and
Donna, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I thought at the previous hearing, as much as Donna recommended the sycamore, I asked that American hackberry be used, and Donna said yes, so.
Okay, if you are both in agreement, we're happy to
That's
make
fine.
whatever
No
change.
issue.
Yeah.
Okay,
I have
thank
no
you.
problem. I mean, the only thing with the hackberry
I
in
know.
there is they make the little berries and they are really messy on the sidewalk and the birds love them, but it makes, the birds love them right
Well,
there in the
since it's
trees
only-
over the parking spaces.
Since it's only two, it's a good place to start, since they're salt tolerant, they're more conducive to the area, and what they do for the amount of, be it bugs, birds, and everything
Yeah,
else.
yeah, no,
We'll try them,
they're
please.
great. It's like I said, just
Thank
that they're gonna make those fruit all over the sidewalk and on the cars and sometimes that's not so much.
Well, that's, if everybody's okay with that, then let's go with
So
that.
we're gonna switch to American
Yep.
hackberry.
American hackberry it is.
Can you refresh my memory if we've gone through the engineer or
We have.
everything, or no?
Yeah, we have.
So we're done.
We had gone already to the.
Through the report?
Yeah, you went
To the report, we was already to start on the architectural test.
Okay, okay. All right. Are our professionals okay? Any questions?
So James mentioned something to me at the beginning of the meeting about something else. So I just want to confirm, along the street frontage, so is this an existing handicap parking space or a proposed handicap parking space in Lake Avenue?
Well, yeah, I believe it's both. It's
proposed, they're moving it over from.
correct, well, yes, there is one existing and we're looking to maintain it.
So I just want to make sure that we're aligning the striping, the access striping with a curb cut, curb ramp. And so that it doesn't conflict with, street tree or just make sure.
Yes, we'll make a note to ensure that that aisle is compliant.
All right, so are our professionals okay?
Yes.
All right, can I open up for any public questions regarding what was brought up? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Dan, you ready?
I'm ready.
Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Please state your name for the record.
Daniel Condator, Condator.
Two.
Dan, you had presented testimony, at least started to present testimony on this application at the last hearing, am I correct?
That's correct.
And we had marked architectural plans that you had prepared as A3 with the last revision date of May 18, 2022, am I correct?
That's correct.
And you had updated the plans with a new revision date of 10/12, or an updated revision date of 10/14/2022, am I correct?
That's correct.
Why don't we mark that as A5 for identification? Thank you. What I'm going to do is have you pull up A5, your architectural plans. And let's go through these plans. Each floor, I know we had gone through previously, but I just want to make sure everybody understands what we're doing here with this application.
Sure.
So let's go through each floor and then detail the revision.
Sure, absolutely. So this is the ground floor parking layout that was very similar to what we previously presented. Lake Ave would be on your right side, Cookman would be on your left side of the plan. The layout primarily is the same. One of the comments that we wanted to address, sorry about this. I'll talk while I do it at the same time, is there was a question at the time of the original hearing about, there seemed to be a lot of space on the plan, maybe to make aisles bigger or parking spaces larger. And we updated the plan to kind of show a hatched area, because in that basement level, is probably structural, we don't know for sure, but there's a curb that goes around the perimeter of the basement, and preventing us from pushing the parking spaces.
It's really
One second, no worries.
Do you need a Creative Cloud login?
What's that?
Do you need a login? I can just give you mine.
The problem is I won't know the password to that info email because I never use it.
No, I can give you my login. to
Oh,
use just
yeah.
for- Just for the meeting.
That's fine, yeah. That would help.
That looks nice. $5,000.
Yeah, no problem.
It doesn't look like this corresponds to what we just heard.
As to,
As to the 2 compact spaces, the elimination of a space.
the 2 compact spaces here should be here, this is, yeah, only showing 1, but that needs to be updated.
Okay.
We can fit the 2 spaces there. I'm right there.
And the elimination of a space also.
Yeah, that's this space right here.
Okay. So it's not updated.
Well, that's not, it should be noted as not being a space. It's,
Either way,
yeah,
pick one.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter to me.
some, this hatch area is that curve that I was indicating earlier, that doesn't allow you to move the spaces in other directions, the side kind of boxes you in. And then, also what we did on the plan, here's the garage entry. This got modified, just reconfiguration, how you enter into the lobby, circulation and ramps to the handicap spaces, the stair reconfiguration, based on just working with the spaces above. There was 2 doors along this storefront wall. It's a small tenant space, so we simplified it and only included 1 door in that tenant space. So those are really the changes to that plan.
All
All right,
just
so-
for accuracy, that where we have the compact, that's actually 2 spaces,
Right.
and that'll be updated to reflect
Yep.
that, and where we have
The stairs is not a space.
the stairs and not a space.
And also the labeling still shows 2 doors in that first retail space.
There's 1.
There's 1 door, so if you could
Yeah, that'll
remove
be
that from there also.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an entrance to that one that's right a little further down, the one that's the bottom of the screen? Is there an entrance to that? Where's the entrance? Is that the entrance there?
And this is the entrance to the garage. This is
Oh,
the
okay,
main-
that's the garage,
Yeah,
okay.
this is a man door. that
Okay.
takes in.
How wide is that garage door?
That is a, It'd be a minimum 22-foot door. There's no dimension there, but it should be 22 feet.
I think the driveway itself is 20 feet.
Yeah, the site plan shows a garage opening of 20 feet.
The driveway being 20 feet.
It's labeled garage opening.
Yeah, the opening, it should be 22. They have two-way traffic through that door. They have a single
So you're
door.
gonna modify that as well?
Mhm.
Because if we're building towards this,
Yeah.
this is not gonna cut it.
Well, wait, so the door is gonna be bigger than the aisle
The driveway.
passing through it?
No, this ramp is more than its dimensions.
Okay, so the site plan and the architectural plans need to
They
come
need
into
to
alignment
coincide.
on the,
Because they're not
on the
the
opening
same.
size, yeah. We don't want the doorway bigger than the
Yeah,
than the
this is
aisle.
25'6", and that's consistent besides this. So this ramp is more than 20 feet wide.
All right, what dimension are we gonna utilize for this, so when you revise the plans?
So what's
they
the
reflect
interior,
the
what's the
dimensions?
interior aisle width?
25.
This is 25'6", so it would be a 24-foot clear is what we would propose here.
All right, so we're being 22?
Yeah.
Centered.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 22-foot centered door and a draw width of 24 feet, am I correct?
Yes.
I thought it was 25.
No.
On the ramp surface, it would be 24, but then once you get onto the main floor, where it's all level, from space to space, and between the columns is 25'6".
It's 25 between the columns, but the driveway aisle
Yeah.
in is 24.
It's
I-
25'6" from center line of
Yeah.
column to center line of column, which leaves you 24-foot clear.
Clear, well, 24-foot clear.
Correct.
I'm just struggling why they don't match, that's all. Because they were building towards this.
Mm-hmm. Well, it'll be clarified. And then on the upper floors, I mean, the first floor with on Cookman, we have no updates to our plan, this is coordination between us. And civil, where this door is there, watching setback. He's aligning with the tenants as they're tentatively proposed at this time. This is, again, this reconfiguration of coordination of the existing staircase shafts and updating the plan.
And that's on page A102, the first one, that's in it, am I correct?
Yes. Same thing, just configuring those staircases to work properly. This is a use plan here to show proposed where the mechanical units are currently, and we don't have all the tenants selected, so I don't have final mechanical layouts until we do that, but they would generally be placed in the center portion of the roof area, which would provide them cutoff views from either street, from Cookman and Lake Avenue.
Would the units or any mechanicals on the roof be visible from either Lake Avenue?
No, they would not.
Are there parapets on the building that would add to screening?
There's minor parapets, but just the distance to the center of the roof relative to the height of the building would prevent that view. I mean, there's units there now which are not visible, so it's either additional units or changing out current units. And here we were,
Okay.
we are A200.
What are we looking at?
So we're looking at the two elevations of the facade. The top elevation is the elevation on Cookman Avenue, and then the bottom elevation is on Lake Ave. I think on this plan, what we do is just cut, clarify some of the materials and the blade signage and the locations of those.
Where's the blade signage, what are the materials that
So just calling out the aluminum framing, the storefront, the new blade signs, the location of those on the plan. And then on the rear side, one of the questions came up regarding, sconces and lighting. So we're indicating wall sconces along the balcony area that shine down and onto the patio on each deck level. And just an overall kind of alignment of the columns and the doors was cleaned up from an elevation perspective.
Is there any lighting on the bottom level? Is there a soffit that comes out from the building?
Only the two awnings that were added here, which would have soffit downlights associated with them. And then one of the things that we, just working with our mechanical, starting to get into the design of it, since this garage is covered, we don't have enough free area to exhaust and properly ventilate. So we're looking at using that door as a rolling cage, which would be open, you'd be able to see through, but we have to exhaust air up through the roof, we have to pull fresh air in. So that would serve two purposes. One, it would serve any kind of flood venting that we would need for the garage, and it would serve as pulling fresh air into the garage so we can properly be exhausted. So originally we had more of like a standard type of garage door, but now we're proposing something that would be open.
Okay, we can go to the front of the building on Cook.
I'm sorry, just 1 second. Over here, the garage door says it's 16 feet.
Yeah,
I thought we were at 22.
it's gonna be 22.
right?
It's gonna be.
Okay, so on this current one, it will be modified as well.
Yes,
That's correct.
yeah.
We can go back to the front of the building on Cook. You mentioned blade signs.
Yes.
Are those blade signs going to extend into the right of way?
Yes, they would.
And how much are they going to extend into the right of way? 2 feet?
Approximately 2 feet,
Uh,
2 foot,
2 feet 6 inches?
yeah, 2 foot 6.
Is there currently a blade sign on the building?
No, there's not. Actually, I don't know. Top of my head.
No.
I'm drawing a blank. No, there's not.
So it would require a right-of-way
Oh,
easement?
wait, take that back.
I think
There is,
there
there's
is.
fitness lifestyle.
That is fitness lifestyle, that's,
That's on that building.
there's
Yeah.
an existing. So you would still need to get on these blade signs a right-of-way easement to allow for them, am I correct?
Yes, they do
So
so.
any approval would be subject to the mayor and council
Yes,
approving a right-of-way easement over the air rights in the sense to allow for this, am I correct?
correct.
So I have a question about this. You seem to have made two different choices about the glass surface on the front and the back, so these these here and these here. Why have you chosen to break up with one additional set of mullions between, you look like you have a lower panel and an upper panel, and here you've got, I feel like at least at the height of the pedestrian, you should try and break up the glass as little as possible. I understand why you want the lower panel,
Yep, understood.
but
I mean, I haven't presented the color images. I mean, it might be a good time to move into those if.
Are there any other revisions that you made to the plans before we get to those renderings?
Yes, so
What else?
here. One of the things that was noted at the last meeting, on the face of the building, we have our existing gas meters. So we're proposing on the right side is where we would propose to relocate those. And then we're noting, the wall sconces and further clarifying the cable railing. So those are the 3 changes there. And that's
So, couple quick things. Where's the gas meters?
we're proposing on the right face, so let me go back to the plan.
Just wondering if that's on your property or somebody else's.
And we propose to put them here. So to be on our wall face,
Yeah, but
So
your
that could
building's
be an
on the
issue.
line on that side.
The site plan shows them in the lower left corner on the Lake Avenue frontage, relocated existing gas meters.
Okay.
what page?
3 of 7.
Yeah, you really can't put them on the,
Yeah, right on the property.
on the east and west faces, because they're on the property line.
Okay. You can't put them, so we'll have to put them on the building face. I was trying to avoid putting them on the building face, but.
You can't do it right away.
That's more of a question for,
Yeah, my thought is if we can put a regular on the building and then put those meters on each inside, we'll probably get the best one. And just trying to think of the location where we can do that.
And then, Dan, would the intent also be to eliminate the exterior piping?
yeah.
Yeah, we'll find a place to get those meters on the inside.
Mhm. And then we were at the piping so it doesn't go up the face of the building and through all the bathrooms.
And currently those are on the exterior of the building, right? Facing the wall.
Yep.
You say you find a place to put them inside, but how about the gas company says they won't put them inside?
Well, if you do a regulator on the outside, my understanding is they'll work with you in doing that.
On the clerk Peyton Hintz report, on page 11 of 15 shows where they're at now.
So should we have a backup plan if that can't happen?
We will make every effort and attempt to bring those inside as opposed to on the exterior of the building. If it's on the exterior, it's gonna have to be similar to the way it is now on the face, which obviously we're trying to avoid. I think the board would prefer we avoid. So we'll make every effort to work with the utility company to get those meters inside.
So then if that's not possible,
We would have to either shift the door for the refuse room, probably north on the page, and then find wall space there. I mean, that would be the only option.
and that's in line with what the site plan shows.
Is there potential for reducing the number of meters? I know obviously for restaurant type of use, you know, you can have a dedicated meter. But the office type uses, is it possible to go with heat pump, electric, or some alternative, so you're not, if you're forced to go with meters on the outside of the building?
Yeah, I understand. I guess something that we have to discuss with Hart on how he wants to have flexibility for his
Yeah.
tenant.
I mean, I know you're not gonna do a restaurant on electric, so.
Well, we're taking a short break and may go back to the previous witness. So with my memory from 3 months ago, when we were talking about the parking garage, the original report said you have no EV charging. Has that been taken care of?
It's not been on the revised plans, no.
No, it's not?
It's on its revised plans now.
Yeah, we're gonna add EV up to 10%. All the office can go on 1 meter, the retail will be metered separately. But we don't see a problem with getting those meters on the inside.
I have
Go ahead.
one more question about utilities. Do you know at this point if you're gonna need a transformer for electric?
We haven't engineered it to determine, so we don't have all.
We don't have that, keep it in mind, it is an existing building, existing service. I can say, we don't have the information as to whether or not we would need or there to be an additional transformer.
So if there is one, where does that go?
Right, that's the question. It doesn't look like there's a lot of space on site. You've got about a 2.5 foot wide strip in the front. Besides that, there's really no other place to put it.
Well, don't they have 14 feet that they're going from the building? You got room. You got 14 feet.
No, that's the building, they only have 2 feet left.
No, but there was 14 feet from the building out into the sidewalk, right? So you got 14 feet.
No, but we have the right to build under the code to have a property line.
That's fair,
And
as long as your transformer fits.
It probably wouldn't be our transformer, it would probably be a transformer for the entire street. So it's not ours, it's a utility company transformer. So there's a big distinction between
Mhm.
that. Number one, I doubt you're gonna do a transformer just for this building, seeing that you have existing service in the building. So the odds of that are very little. So it would be up to the utility company, it's their power whether or not they want to put a transformer somewhere. We don't make that determination, we have no control over that. So,
Do you have anything else about the utilities? Because I have something else.
No, that's it.
All right, can we go back to the garage, because now you're mentioning that the garage is, we're gonna be able to see through the garage?
Be able to see into the garage.
Okay, that's not really appealing.
Well, it's a function of, we have to provide fresh air. So
Okay.
it's not too different than many parking garages where,
All right, which one? I'd like to, just so that I have an example by us.
700 bangs, there's glass panels that.
Yes, glass panels, yes.
Right. So you can see into.
I know,
the-
and I'm not a fan, that's probably where I saw it.
yeah,
But go ahead.
but you need to provide fresh air. So I don't know how this, it depends on the size of the garage, what kind of ventilation you need. Since we're bound, basically, we're dug into, we're surrounded by buildings on both sides. I would agree, I would rather have a glass door, something more architectural.
Right,
But then I have no, unless I could put that as a door, but then I'm gonna have to put a giant louver on the building somewhere to pull that air in.
okay,
So
so,
it's
so,
like.
all right, so once again, where else can I see one of these? Around here?
I don't.
Where there's a door that you can see in, that's not glass, so I can just have some example, because I don't know
It's a good
of one.
question, I don't know off the top of my
It's actually what
head.
they proposed on 545 Lake for the trash room access. They have a grid-style roll-up metal door.
So it's, okay, so that's a roll-up metal door, but that's not a see-through.
Well,
They're saying it's a
essentially the
see-through.
same thing what he's saying, it's like, because it's just slats, right?
The slats,
Yes.
So,
So it's like a cable railing, but it's a door instead of just a railing.
all right, so you can't see through.
no, you can, it's open chain, like a chain
I
metal.
mean, it's not 100% transparent, but, yeah.
I know.
It's
Even similar doors on the bangs at
it's
the
like
garage
a
now,
hanging
aren't
chain
they all the
mail.
same way?
Oh.
more so that it is
Front doors,
solid
slats.
door, and it rolls.
Oh, and it rolls like that?
Rolls like
Oh, I know
a
that.
blind.
Yeah, and they.
Yeah, like a blind.
Bangs at 700
Yeah,
bangs,
the garage is there.
that's glass panels. Yeah, those are glass panels, those doors. They're not slotted. I'm trying to think where it's
It's actually like hanging segments, rods.
So at this point, we really have no other choice, is that what we're saying?
And if I can engineer a way out of it, I will, but I'm telling you, I'm
Right, but you don't know.
pretty certain that we're gonna need the fresh air. We have no,
You,
because you're gonna pull the air through the garage and up through the roof.
unless 50% of the face of the building were open, that
Which it is
garage
not.
must
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
mechanically.
And then that
Okay.
50% also has to be spread around more than one side,
Exactly. It's-
and we only
Okay.
have the one
Yeah.
side.
While we're talking about A100, can we go back to the footing around on the east and west sides of this building?
Yes. These concrete areas here?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the original construction, what was the purpose of those, do you know?
I could not tell you. I mean, there's many reasons. It might have been underpinning, if that was depending on when it was built relative to those buildings next to it, right? They might have been put there to support the existing footings of the adjacent foundations.
It's been a long time since I've been in that building, and I don't remember the sizes. How wide are they? Are they sidewalk widths
Yeah.
on both east and west sides?
Yeah, and then the north, south, and The north, south, and west, yeah, not the south.
It's on the east side.
It's on this side,
It's
so
on the
that would be
east.
the east, this would be the west, and
Right.
that would be the north.
Okay. And how high are they?
They're
As
roughly
compared-
about 16 inches.
Okay.
Don't you have to
All right. Go ahead, go.
Okay.
Excuse me, just one quick question. You said they're 16, about 16 inches high and about 5 feet wide?
Yes, approximately. I
Okay.
don't know off the top of my head, but that's approximate size.
All right.
Yep, so, I'll pump it in.
All right, now these, I believe, were marked as A3
Three.
at the last hearing. That is correct. Okay.
Okay, so this is a rendering of the building along Cookman Avenue. A couple of things that we're doing here, we're trying to bring a lot of light and glass onto that storefront area. So we have these, this is a new storefront glazing that's recessed back from the face of the property line on the building. We have this, try to create an industrial type horizontal black storefront along there and bring consistency across the face of the building. Also, what we're trying to do is express the horizontal window band that we have. So right now, these ACM panels are not there. We just thought it was an architectural detail that would, further bring some dimension to the building. We felt that just the simple punch windows and the amount of masonry that's associated with can be broken down a little bit. So in these bays where we don't have the existing windows, these are existing windows, we were adding an ACM panel. And then we have the tenant blade signs that we were previously talking about. So overall, I mean, like I said, we're trying to bring light into it. We're trying to bring flexibility to that storefront. It creates a nice wide sidewalk area in front of the building. We anticipate this being very activated now. It hasn't been activated like this in a long time, and it's a large building along that street front. So, this is what we're proposing for the front elevation.
Can you just refresh our memory as to what it looks like today, where, are you going to be?
Just doing the same.
Yeah, no, because today, I'm just not sure, is it changing at all, and what's a street front? Because I see that there's an
Yes.
indent, and that's
So-
going away?
We're pushing it back to the full, like where the indent was.
Back,
So right now,
so it's back not to the street, but to
there's an
the,
existing indent that starts, it tapers, so it's
Right,
not
it
straight
tapers.
across, right? So it
Right.
starts out front at the face of the building,
right,
and then it starts to push its way into a center door.
right, so,
We're pushing everything in.
okay, so everything is moving in?
Yes.
Not towards the street, but towards
Yes.
the inner side of the
So
building?
to give you a
Okay.
more consistently wider
Okay.
sidewalk along that pathway.
Okay.
So the whole ground floor frontage would be indented,
Yes,
not just those two not just the centerpiece, but
That's correct.
the two flanks will go away.
correct.
Which aren't original anyway,
Um,
because you can see the old foundation wall. I walked by.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that you demolished
mhm.
that portion.
Right, and the lighting on the front, what are we
So the
doing?
lighting there's existing soffit lighting that was there where the center door was. So we're gonna expand that soffit now that everything's pushed in and just continue
Okay,
some down
so that's all
lighting.
downlit.
Just downlighting, yes.
What about the lighting of the signs?
We plan on doing a surface fixture just to accent on the sign directly.
Do we have that anywhere here?
They weren't in the resubmission package, but
So
I can provide
one on
those.
each side?
Yeah, one on each side, like little arms, as opposed to internally lighting.
You'd rather internally lighted.
I well, I think signage, okay, go ahead, please.
No, just, would you clarify, you're going to have lights on either side of the blade sign shining on?
Yes, instead of internally lit.
I think it's just too much chance for mayhem.
I think the purpose of a blade sign at this height is not necessarily focused on pedestrian visibility. And so I'm curious why you chose not to hang your signs from the soffit, which you could then light.
Oh, because all the other signs on the street are that.
Okay.
They're hanging
And
down,
there are
right?
good reasons to have blade signs,
Right.
certainly. And I think there is also something about the fitness lifestyle sign that's kind of quirky and, retro-y that speaks to the architecture of the building. So
Yeah,
I'm curious if you would be
that's where,
open to
kind of derived from originally.
Right, and
Yeah.
I think that moving it into this area, one, eliminates the need for the approval. It doesn't extend into the right of way.
Right.
And then two, it focuses that on the pedestrian being able to identify the businesses.
We're fine with doing internal light within the blade signs.
Right, but let's get back to the actual signs.
We've moved past that.
We've already moved past that.
The blade signs.
Let me go back a minute, all right?
I mean, the street is so narrow, it's hard to take a picture, of the whole frontage of the building just from the opposite side of the street.
This is what we'll propose. We can change the signage to the front. If we can have just one blade, just for the building.
Yes, I think that's the reason to have a blade sign, exactly,
And just for
yes.
the board's edification, in terms of the transformer, it's actually an underground transformer under the sidewalk in front of the building.
That's what the
So,
vault is?
That's the vault.
Okay.
So then my secondary comment on design of the front facade, while
I understand your approach to creating a horizontalness.
I feel like at the level of the pedestrian, the one panel of glass should be uninterrupted to allow
Okay.
The clears, and it matches the back of the building, the Lake Avenue frontage where you have one lower panel and one upper panel, 1/3, 2/3.
And just keep one thing in mind, as we have the different storefronts, different tenants, you're gonna have a little bit thicker mullion in between those.
Sure. And I want to commend you. I think breaking this building up into multiple tenants is the best approach. We need more frontages.
Yeah.
It's gonna look nice. But I feel like the front and the back of the building should match,
Okay.
and that at the level of the pedestrian, you should have an uninterrupted view into the space.
In other words, I think that the top two panels are fine, but.
Yeah, did you
just-
want something more
Consistent,
open
yeah.
and consistent on the?
Well, and it speaks to the language of the street more generally.
Yeah, I don't see that.
So are the ACM panels actually black or is there some?
A specific color?
Because the brick isn't really that red.
Yeah, I know, it's hard to,
Orangey,
sometimes
yeah.
the renderings, and it's different, like, if I show you on my computer here, it's definitely more orange than it is showing up on that
And
screen.
next door is like yellow. So
Yeah.
it's like, when you look at them together, it's like, is it the same building?
Yeah, no, I understand, that screen is a little bit more richer than actually what I'm staring
I've got
at
a nice close-up of
in my,
where the two
on my
are
screen.
together.
It wouldn't be, like a flat black, I mean, we would tend to use black anodized for the storefront, so it would be, black anodized is not a true black, it's a little bit lighter, so, it would align with that color. Should I go to the next, the rear?
So you're showing these buildings doesn't align to the, so there's no reveal here, right? I'm looking
No,
at
there
the.
isn't.
No,
Yeah, okay, so it's just a rendering thing.
yeah.
I see you took liberties with the street lighting.
Yeah. Do we get these all over? You're
Yeah.
buying these for all of
Sure,
I
downtown?
mean, I don't want them to height, they should definitely be lower.
Right.
Let me go to the next. Well, this is the more dramatic of the change, I would say, to the building and I mean, I think the overall purpose when I gave the initial presentation, talking about the plan and how we felt that it was important that we connect this building. It's one of the only through street buildings where you can walk from Cookman and walk across and get right to the rear along Lake Avenue. And that's, you know, how we envisioned with the tenant spacing and bringing that transparency throughout. So our goal on the rear is to activate the street. Right now, it's a very large masonry building. It's got very little detail. It's got a few minor, there's this brick color change that happened where they had the sign was up here originally at one point. But for the most part, you know, it's a masonry wall. And what we're trying to do is we have this, so here's the first floor, the ground floor, you know, storefront area where we have our small retail component. On the right side is the glass area where we have, this would be the entrance that takes you to the elevators and the staircases that bring you up to the additional floors. These were not updated based on the CAD, right? So these were the original images that I never got a chance to present. So again, we originally wanted a solid door that is now going to be that kind of rolling cage that we talked about. And then over on the end, you see the doors to the trash room and a man door exit from the garage itself. This is at the main Cookman level, so this aligns with the street on the other side. So we envision that flow coming out and taking advantage of, you know, the views and the activity on the street. We're kind of bringing a little bit, you know, the building is, you know, somewhat modern in the sense that we're bringing more of a modern cable railing style along the deck areas. We're doing, you know, a composite wood ceiling and some composite wrapping on the columns that feel like bringing some warmth and some other natural looking materials to the project might do some justice on the facade. And then you know, you can see the doors that we're bringing in on the more of the retail level. You know, we're showing like a garage door type opening that would work with our tenant on a nice day. They can just open those up and have indoor-outdoor connection. More formal type sliding doors on the office areas and those levels because, you know, you don't want those open, you want those closed most of the time. But so, I mean, this is what we tried to create to liven up the street. I think it's a good addition to the kind of ever-changing look along, Lake Avenue. There's a lot of different types of architecture, a lot of different things happening.
And as it exists now, it's kind of like a dead area right in front of that.
That is a dead area in front. There's not much that happens in that area now, except for, you know, forklifts and stuff like that coming in and out.
And this will bring a lot of activity, a lot
Yeah.
of life and sense in front of this building, am I correct?
Yes,
Yeah, could you just flip back to the front rendering?
I can.
Oh. Is it really close? Could you maybe provide an accent on the lakeside? See how we have the strong dark band separating the upper from the lower floor? Could you do something on the, like, I know you have it right there at the top of the first floor where it's demarcating the floor.
Yeah.
But the windows, I just feel like they're too flush. Like they almost need to be set in a little.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just subjective.
Yeah, I understand. I mean,
I don't
it's,
know if everybody's happy with the street level
this here.
facade. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a little
Is it
flush,
just 'cause
it's
the way
flusher in
it's
the
flat
rendering
from
than
the
it is. I mean, it's
How-
a masonry wall, so it's gonna be set back a few inches from
How
the face.
much space does it, you have 18 inches or something there, right?
Between the face of the building and the property line, we
Yeah.
have like 2.5 feet.
And did you add awnings, you
Yeah,
said
so
here?
they're added in, there's an awning over this door, and there's an awning over this door over here.
Would you consider something maybe a little bit more continuous? That just is,
I mean, I don't see
That
why.
Just
we
carry it all the way across.
Yeah, carry it a little bit longer. I mean, I don't see that as an
Yeah, that might
issue.
give it a depth, a feeling of depth.
Mhm.
I think that's what it's missing.
So, are these at different intervals, or is it just the way the rendering presents?
The spacing of the columns?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
you've got your columns.
I think it's just the way the rendering presents. And we're still working, so, we like as few columns as possible. So we're working with a structural engineer too, right now, to determine the final column locations, to
Yeah,
kind
the
of clean it
elevation
up.
drawing does have some wacky spacing between.
Yeah, and that's something we're working on with them to clean that up.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna, well, okay. So then what's your lighting for these levels?
So we'll have, on the plan, we have, in between the door openings and the glazing, we have some small accent, like downlights, sconces. And then we would put, individual downlights in the soffits.
And you're anticipating the use of outdoor dining in this location?
Yes.
Will there be amplified music? Like, what's the
Now, we have
situation,
a sound mitigation code that we have to comply with anyway,
right?
so we would be in full compliance.
So you're not anticipating like live music? I'm just curious
I
like, what the
can't,
uses
we don't
are.
have a tenant yet, so I can't
Okay.
say what any tenant would do.
My only concern would just be about light bleed, but as long as it's all focused down.
Yeah, there'll be no uplighting.
You'd mentioned that there were going to be, it's hard for me to tell here, but you'd mentioned that there were going to be garage door light.
Yeah, those are.
Which one, where are they?
These are these.
Those are the openings?
Yeah.
So there'll be two there.
Mhm.
Now would be for a restaurant to create that open space on the inside onto that deck, am I correct?
That's correct.
All right, so the color of the brick is the same as it is today.
Yes,
That will all remain.
yes.
Well, so the addition part, is that gonna match the?
It would match the
part or
the red, it would
the
match
body?
the red part.
Okay.
Because that's
Yeah,
essentially as it
yeah.
works now, it
Yeah.
comes down and that ground floor is the redder brick.
All right, next. Anything else?
That's what I have.
All right. Any other questions from members of the board?
My one question is, I know last meeting we were discussing what the use of the garage is and who was going to be using it. I just know I looked at the CBD development plan and just saw that, public parking is a principal use under that plan. Any use of, in public principal use, would have to be approved by the city council, to make sure that's out there. Yeah, just to know who, I don't know what we're using this for, is all my question.
Yeah, the intent is you're gonna have tenants within the building, and you can use it for the uses in this building.
Okay.
All right, but I understand certainly in terms of public use, familiar with the code, but otherwise.
So there is no public use, it's all for residents or tenants.
Or people that come to utilize the property.
So it is a public.
Well, for this property.
Right, public for the property.
That's what you're.
How will they
Park
get in?
here and go somewhere else.
Right, but how will they get in?
Well, that would be up to if it's gonna be utilized or people that are coming to utilize or use this property. I mean, if you have offices upstairs.
Oh, yeah, I get
And somebody
that.
comes to visit an office, although they're not, they work in that office, they have an appointment there to see somebody.
All right, so somebody will figure that out.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about, I want to
It's not a
go
public
to the
property.
brewery, I cannot use this.
It's not a public garage.
Okay.
We are going to comply with the code as it provides. This is not open for public use where anybody can just come in and utilize the garage. The municipal code, the CBD has certain regulations in terms of how you can use lot. Keep it in mind that you can utilize a lot for one property in the CBD for another piece of property. You're allowed to do that. All right? So it would be used consistent with what is allowed in the CBD. We're taking parking off the street, putting it in there. So any tenants or persons that would ordinarily utilize this property that would park on the street, be able to utilize the parking within this building. If it's used in other ways consistent with what is provided in the CBD, it's determined that's the best use for it, that's how it's going to be
And we're
utilized.
still losing 2 spots on the street.
You're gaining 38, you're losing
Oh.
2.
Okay, and
Well, you are,
Yeah, but they're
because,
not
I mean,
public.
think about it, somebody that may be using that building that would be parking on the street right now, they're not gonna be parking on the street, they're gonna be parking in the building, so yes, you're gaining.
but you're saying that somebody who is going to another location in the CBD,
We are going to use consistent with how we're allowed to utilize it in CBD.
but you made a conflicting statement. You said initially that the parking would be for people utilizing that building.
You have, in your CBD, it allows you to utilize, if you have another building in the CBD.
I hear you.
You can
Exactly.
utilize other parking
But
within the CBD.
that's not what you said initially. Initially, you said that that building would be, the parking in that building would be utilized for people using that building. After a little bit of discussion, then you added the fact that this. Yes, okay.
It will be consistent with what is allowed in the CBD.
I hear what you're saying.
We're not gonna do anything we're not allowed to do in
I
this
understand
building in
that,
terms of parking.
but you made conflicting statements.
No, I didn't, I continued with it,
Okay.
when I said it'll be used for the building, and it'll be used consistent
Okay.
with the CBD. Keep it in mind, the CBD, your redevelopment plan allows you, if you have another building, you can utilize parking in another property within the CBD. We're using it entirely consistent with the CBD.
And is the parking here going to be, in the building, going to be designated and allocated to tenant one gets X number of spaces, tenant two gets,
We haven't decided, because we don't know who the
Okay.
tenants are. We don't know how many office tenants we're gonna have that are gonna utilize the parking, we can't say at this point. Keep in mind, it's an added benefit, you have an office tenant there, and they're gonna be driving, they're not living within Asbury Park, they're gonna be driving. It's a benefit to be able to provide them with parking on site. So it will be an attractive selling point to be able to provide a tenant with parking. But we don't know the circumstances. If people are living in Asbury Park, they don't need parking, then we don't know if we're gonna have to allocate to a tenant. So until we have tenants within the building, it's tough to determine at this point.
Anybody else have any questions?
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
What is your signage strategy for your retail tenants on the
Lake Avenue, it seems like you need, so if you're gonna create
Yeah,
a thing, you'll also hang similarly?
yeah, I'll have a sign.
Okay, I just wanted to
Just make
feel
sure
like
it'll
we should-
comply with blades.
might be not such a bad place here, because it seems like,
There's all blade
I mean,
signs, everything on,
these ladies are very tall, I want to point that out.
I mean, most of the buildings, a good chunk of them on that street do have blade signs, I know. that-
Right, but they're kind of set back, and
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
more
yeah.
auto-oriented street.
Street. I mean, your columns could be an opportunity there,
Yeah,
but I just, there's nothing to,
You haven't presented anything around signage, so I just
Yeah.
want to make sure it's consistent with the other side.
yeah.
Two signs per business. And not location. I'm just thinking about the code and like,
Thank you, Mac.
yeah. So just, we just have to be careful that whether the tenant signs are how many total.
And
'Cause even though it's two frontages, it's still being treated as one building.
Yeah, it's an unusual building because you don't have many through buildings in the CBD. So it made it a little tough because you have significant grade change from Cookman to Lake. And almost like in the middle of an existing building, then you have the Cookman, district, and then you have, the CBD mix. So it's a little bit unusual because of the nature of the building.
Any other questions from our board?
Did we talk about staging in the last meeting?
You brought it up last time. In terms of the staging, maybe I can have Mr. Sackman provide testimony on that.
Okay. Anything else with our professionals?
So, we talked about lighting at the first meeting a little bit, and a little bit tonight. So mostly tonight, we talked about what's happening inside of those open spaces of the building. So I guess the question is there any building mounted lights proposed to light the sidewalk along Lake or Cookman? And then is a comprehensive lighting plan going to be provided?
I'm gonna be asking for that,
Yeah, that's
because we don't have one.
understood.
So, to your question.
I mean, along the street, we would just have some general egress lighting where the doors are. You know, next to this door over here, this is an egress door, some lighting next to where the trash is, but the street is pretty well lit on its own, so just not really a huge need for additional lighting.
There is some lighting proposed there to provide.
Yeah, that's fine.
Any other questions from our professionals?
Well, so I just want to clarify what our expectation is. Is the board looking for street lighting along the frontage? Or just,
Yeah, because we're not proposing any.
I mean, there
street
isn't
lighting.
any along Lake. There's those couple of Coverheads on the opposite side of the street, but
Which are pretty,
yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a
And pretty ugly.
dark.
Let me just throw that out there.
I agree with that. We may not agree on a lot of things, but we agree.
So we're just gonna focus on the door openings and around the.
Right, anything that's on the
garage door.
building. We have to focus anything that's on the building.
And we're gonna get rid of all the existing building lighting.
The existing wall packs and stuff that are there,
Yeah.
yes.
Right, do we have anything on the report that we want to go through,
I
or
think we went through the reports last.
we're all
time.
set? Okay, is anyone from the public that has any questions? No? Okay, let's go next. Who's next?
Actually, I would call Carter Sackman, just to receive during the course of construction.
Carter, please raise your right hand. Solemnly swear testimony about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Please state and spell your name for the record.
Carter Sackman, C-A-R-T-E-R, S-A-C-K-M-A-N.
Thank you.
Mr. Sackman, what is your affiliation with the owner of this property?
I'm managing member.
In terms of staging during the course of construction when doing the renovations to the building, can you just describe how that would work with this site?
Well, our expectation would be to take certain space on, in the street, have certain street closures, specifically with the south elevation, in order to stage the back improvements, the rear improvements. South.
Street closures? Did you just say street closures?
No, I'm talking about on the street, some of the parking
Oh, okay,
spaces
okay.
on the street, not too dissimilar to what we did at 545 Lake. And then we would accommodate for a redirection or pathway for pedestrian traffic.
Would you be closing the sidewalk for the length of your, or duration of your construction?
Well, we redirect it, so it could do, we have an option of either doing, I think that for us, the simplest way would be to close the sidewalk and then redirect the pathway onto the parking, where the parking stalls would be on the south elevation.
How would you delineate that? The parking space, that walking path?
Well, we could come up with a plan, certainly, we can provide a plan, a staging plan.
Sure.
I mean, other than me just trying to describe it, but
Yeah,
that would
I
be,
was more asking, so my only concern is that
Yeah.
you're putting pedestrians in the street now, so that's cars.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's whatever safety.
the other, I only say that for loading and unloading, I've certainly done it where we've put a sidewalk bridge. There's a lot of work here for the ground, that has to be done, so I'm just looking at the logistics of this particular improvement. It would seem to make sense that we redirect pedestrians out
That's fine.
in the stallway, the parking stalls.
What do you anticipate the construction time to be?
Pretty soon. I mean, I think the storefronts, certainly on Cookman and the rear elevation, is what we're looking to do to try and entice tenants to come into this particular location. So we feel like, the office as a particular use becomes more attractive with the improvements we're proposing.
How long would it take for those improvements, both on the first floor of Cookman and then the ground floor on the lake?
I would hope it would take 10 months to a year to do what we have to do. I mean, there's a lot of internal work, that's behind the scenes that, we've mentioned also, where expectation is hopefully as we move along here, we do have certain 2 tenants signed up. And, with that, we're looking to upgrade the HVAC. There's an old antiquated system in there presently. As was mentioned earlier, that would create, we're looking to put a lot of that equipment on the roof, upgrade that, redirect some of that work. Obviously, we're liking the fact that on the, we'll call it the Cookman Avenue elevation, first floor elevation that carries through to what you see up on the screen as the second floor of the Lake Avenue elevation. We're trying to bring light into the rear of the space. Right now, it's closed off. And we're trying to bring the amenities of being on Lake Avenue to the space, particularly the view shed. So light and view shed is obviously what we're trying to do to attract a tenant.
Are you talking about using parking and sidewalk space on both Cookman and Lakesides, the duration of the project, or just the Lakeside?
I would think the Lakeside is predominantly the bulk of the work. I don't expect that to happen on Cookman.
Okay.
We're recessing that in approximately 4 or 5 feet, somewhere in there. I don't have the exact.
Okay, so start of construction probably on the Lakeside.
Yeah, I would imagine,
You have a dumpster right now on the Cookman side.
Yes, we do. We do. Yeah, we're cleaning out
But
the first
sidewalk is
floor.
clear.
Yeah.
Are those dumpsters staying there? Or for like the duration of the project, or just?
No. We cleaned out most of the first floor. We're just about done.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would imagine, maybe a barrier we would construct, if or I should say to the extent, I'll have to check with my contractor as it relates to second floor changing of windows and any kind of facade work, whether we need a bridge or not, the, sidewalk bridge for pedestrian pathway along Cookman.
Like construction shed, right? The
Well,
overhang.
a bridge.
Yeah.
Construction bridge.
Anybody have any other questions for Mr. Sackman? No?
Yeah, I have one question. When you were conceiving of this building, did you ever think of not bumping it out so that it changed the sight line on Lake? It's like the only one that's bumped out that far.
Yeah, there's another building directly to the east of us.
Oh, yeah, I know
It's a
that one.
residential building that's bumped out. Listen, what we were looking to do was obviously we were looking to bring in some exterior terrace space. The first floor enabled us to bring on the southeast corner where we have our entryway, we're utilizing the freight elevator as more of a pedestrian elevator to the first and second floor for an office tenant. So we're utilizing the existing shaftway and using the space on the south side of the shaftway and enclosing it. Because right now that opens up to the exterior, more like a warehouse use presently. So that bump out enables us to accommodate that. And then, to the southwest where we have the garbage, it's more at street elevation, that garbage holding area that's bumped out to hold refuse. So, and then, just directly between the garage and the entrance, that's where we get a little retail there to kind of help our street frontage on that elevation. But the verticality of what we're trying to accomplish, I think, is kind of nice. It does set back. It's not going up the whole way. The building that I mentioned directly to the east goes up the whole way. This is just on one level, and then it's back to its original.
That's the building that I find very offensive, because it goes right to the sidewalk, and when people are walking, suddenly they can't, the flow is different. But what I wanted to find out about this, can you give us some idea, and I don't know which of your professionals can do that, because the lake house is right next door, and that is bumped out also. Like there's an indent, and then if you could see it on this, the depiction of the existing state. Can you give us some idea of where, I see the lake house is bumped out, is that going to be an equal? Or is it going to be out further?
We extend out further than that.
It's going to extend out even further?
Yeah, I think we extend out, it was, my memory is correct, was about 12 feet
Yeah,
from
12
the,
feet.
from the facade.
12 feet from the facade, and currently the lake house probably isn't 12 feet.
No, the lake house, I'm just looking here,
Yeah.
including the entrance with the roof, it's probably about 6 feet.
Yeah, I think it's a little deeper than that.
I think, Barbara, the other problem is with that easterly building, that's where the sidewalk width changes as well.
Yeah, the width
So it's like-
changes,
yeah,
and
so
that's
why it's
that's
so
the
dramatic.
part that is so
It's not
dramatic.
gonna be so bad at this end, because there's such a wider uniform.
Yeah, it is a bigger sidewalk.
Sidewalk area.
I agree with
Yeah.
you. I agree with you.
I think the lake house is only about 8.5 or 9 feet.
So let's say if it's like 8.5, 9 feet, and you're going 12,
So
In
it'll
this
stick
case.
out more, but.
or is it? Because I hear 12, I've seen 14.
No, no.
It is 12.
14 to the property line.
Well, to the property,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
from the
yeah.
property,
The
okay.
facade
So it's 12.
is 12.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions?
Yes,
Our professionals?
14 feet, 8 inches to the property.
To the property line, and we're going out. Okay. Anyone? Okay, do anyone from the public have any questions of Mr. Sackman? Okay. Here we go.
Could we have you guys submit a staging plan? Is that a thing we could do?
On the conditions already.
A what
Okay.
kind of plan?
A staging plan, just so we can see it.
Okay. Oh,
We'll start developing a standard plan. By all, we started now with that last one.
I like that, thank you.
With Mr. Sackman's testimony, that's all that I had in terms of evidence for work.
okay. Great. All right.
Yeah.
Here's,
You want public comment?
oh yes, I'm sorry. Can we we're open to public for comment? Please open session. Can I get a motion?
Second.
Anyone from the public would like to comment on this application as a whole? No? Okay. Motion to close?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
All right, so there seems to be a lot of, in my mind, let's just say, there are a number of things that we need that we don't have. Okay? We need a lighting plan. We need to have some idea of what the signs are gonna look like, where they're going to be. New windows to match the front and back. The plans that we looked at today didn't match. We didn't have any measurements on the plans. So they didn't, the two witnesses had two different plans. And that's just a start. The renderings have to be upgraded. The plans have to be upgraded. I don't know, I don't know how the rest of our panel feels, but I'm not quite exactly sure what I'm approving. Because the plans don't match. And I don't know what you're going to build because the plans don't match. Or we don't see it.
There were, no doubt, there were some discrepancies on the plan, some things that have to be updated. My understanding is, in terms of the measurements, is limited to that drive aisle into the garage and width of the garage.
And the parking spaces that don't match?
Well, they don't match, they're correct on the engineering
Well-
plan, you just have to update the architectural.
Well,
plan
that's,
to make
it may be a just, but we've seen it. Renderings are not what we need them to be. We don't have the lighting plans. We don't have, all of the plans, in my mind, should match. I don't know, am I wrong? I mean, I'm open for discussion here.
Ultimately, they'll match, but it can be a condition, no, we update the plans to make them.
I tend to agree that we should just see what the basic final product looks like when they're are hanging signs, when there are lighting locations, like it just seems like we should.
And the glass panels should be what they're going to be.
Right.
You're gonna give us a staging plan, where the meters are gonna go because they can't go on the sides of the building.
I mean, that may not be settled until the utility weighs in.
But
Yeah.
what we were talking about, it has to be on the back somewhere facing Lake Avenue. It's gotta be there, because everything else is in the right of way of the other buildings, so it has to be in the front.
Yeah.
So we
It
need
doesn't
something.
have to be on the front, it can be on the inside.
Okay, but worst case scenario is that would be in the front, right? That's worst case.
Worst case, but I don't see any reason why you can't do it with the regulator and have those meters on the inside.
Mhm.
I'm not JCP&L, but just based upon my experience in doing some of these projects.
So will we know where those columns are going to be? Because obviously they're not in the right place right now. Will we know that? Like, I'm just concerned about what are we approving? Do we know as a board what we're approving? That's what I need to get some input from my board members.
There are so many small corrections that have to be made to these plans. Yes, each one of them is small, but when you take them and you accumulate them, it becomes a pretty big situation. What is the estimate on the time frame for updating these plans and getting them corrected?
Yeah, I just want to go through and make sure that we're on the same page with what needs to be corrected and updated. Lighting plan, signage plan, the revised windows, the measurements within the drive aisle, garage.
Well, and the drive aisle and the full garage area has to be, I don't see that those numbers are right.
I'm sorry?
The garage area,
Yeah, the door.
the door,
drive
what is the
aisle.
door gonna look like? I wanna
I have
see
that
what the
down.
door's gonna look like.
There's a lot of
Front
dimensions
windows,
missing from the
staging plan,
plans.
relocate the meters.
Well, I would like to make just a proposal. I get, it seems like the bulk of the work is on the south elevation. In the interest of I've got a couple tenants right now that are signed up on the first floor of Cookman. I would like to have the ability, I don't know if we can partially release the north facade on Cookman for that elevation that's recessed in, so I could get that in fabrication. Because that's gonna be the biggest selling point right now presently. And it'll also meet the needs of a couple of the tenants that I have in line. One's a bakery, one's a brewery. And the other items, that we can take, since it looks like the bulk on the south elevation, we come back before the board and include those items.
Well, the north plan, it would include lighting and signs.
Yes, right.
So
But
we need to see
I want to
those.
release the storefront.
Sorry?
I want the storefront released and the recessed area.
Well, no, but, right, because we don't have the lighting or the signs for Cookman either.
Right,
We don't have that either.
right.
So we need those. I don't know of any way that we can approve a partial,
Can't approve the storefront on Cookman?
but it's not approved because we don't know what the signs are gonna look like. We don't know what the lighting is gonna look like.
Well, we're not asking for any signs or
You
lighting.
don't bifurcate applications.
No, we can't get the storefront.
Well, let's just say that the sooner that you can get those modifications in, the sooner we can put you on the schedule. And we have some openings.
What's
We
the
have
soonest you
openings.
get us on?
We have, the first one in January? Which is our reorg meeting, and then we have an opening right after that. On the 9th, I think it is. If you can get all your modifications, we can get in.
We'll get them done.
What is it, on, what is it, 7th?
16.
No, the reorg is on.
It's the 9th of January.
The 9th of January. So we have an opening right after the reorg.
Yeah,
Right?
you don't take up the whole evening.
We don't take up the whole evening with the reorg. So the first one would be the 9th. So if you can get all your modifications in, we can go. Okay, so that's, good.
I will not be here at that meeting, so you'll need to make sure that Dan has listened to.
Okay, that's fine. Are we okay with that plan? The board? Okay, all right.
You have a lifetime, right? Done.
I know, I'm just counting.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, well, that's the concern.
Kind of needed by the 19th.
We're gonna.
Okay.
Sorry, Jam.
I'm not worried.
And so just to clarify, do you think it's open, so you absolutely can't do a solid door for the garage door?
It's not a solid door.
Has to be solid door.
Okay. So it's not like there's an option, two
There's
different
not an
styles, it's
Right.
gonna be an open door. Okay.
There has to be a place to
Yeah.
take in air.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a big, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think you're even gonna come up against a certain percentage of that mesh is gonna have to be open. You're gonna have to.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna
Like,
be
there's a-
80% open.
Right, yeah, there's like a percentage you're gonna have to hit.
And just, I was scrolling around, the Ocean Club, private entrance has a similar type of gate.
Okay.
Okay, I'll take a
Yeah.
wide around.
But it's recessed in, that's why.
Right, so you
can
can't see it.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
I don't know if that would be such a benefit here, because the pedestrian,
Mhm.
so close.
All right. All right, can I get a motion to carry this application to January 9th as the second item on that, agenda?
Yeah.
After the reorg?
Do we need renotice, Jack?
No.
No.
No, without notice, make the motion without notice. So
Yes.
everyone that's here, gonna be moved to the 9th.
To the 9th without notice.
You're welcome to attend.
I'll move it.
Second?
We have all in favor?
Mayor Moore,
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton,
Yes?
James Bonanno,
Yes.
Jim Henry,
Yes.
Jennifer Satter,
Yes.
Eric Gallipo,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Kurzak.
Yes. Okay.
One quick administrative item.
Yeah, just remember to sign me out, or else tomorrow
We
I.
had an approval for 527 Banks Ave. We all agreed that we were gonna do the entire building in brick to match similar to what had been there. We had submitted some brick to the zoning office, we got some pushback. We have a photo of the original building in 3 different types of brick that we could use. I'd like to be able to just have the board weigh in what they prefer on this. If there's one out of the 3 types that the board prefers, we'll.
This is on this property?
527.
527 Bangs Avenue, that's,
It's a written approval, but it's the brick we put up.
Yeah.
What the board wants. The zoning office. This alone.
Well, supposedly,
On what grounds?
we submitted the brick, and I think I was told that she photographed it and sent it around to board members. And then she got back to us and said that they denied the samples that I dropped off.
Not true.
I'm just telling you what I
No,
was
I know,
told.
I believe you, but totally not true to me. I never
So
saw it.
I then-
Send us a copy of your sample,
Yeah.
sent to my office,
Yeah.
but it was just one sample, and it
Yeah,
said,
and so
no.
I was so like, I don't, so I made copy of the old facade and the sample, I think we matched it pretty close. That's what we were trying to do, was match it, what was pre-existing.
I don't know, is this something that's within our,
Well, I don't think it's within Michelle's one. Oh, I don't think so.
I'm not so sure that we're, on what grounds did she deny that?
The condition was to match the brick as close as possible to the original.
We think we did, we want to make sure we.
Well, she said they didn't. It's her call.
I guess.
No,
it's not our
not
call.
necessarily. On what grounds? What's her criteria? Subjective criteria?
She has
I
a
think she
color-
said she canvassed the board to me. That's what she said.
She has a photograph of the original brick, which she used as a guide for what's to match.
527.
in order to issue a zoning permit.
525, 527.
That's really subjective.
No, 525.
I agree, but we want to make sure we get it right.
Yeah, we can get any of this brick, it's not a big deal.
We have 3 different samples of brick, we have a picture of the original building. This tells you.
Can we show it?
Rather than go through an entire.
It's not bothering me. It's not bothering me.
Just to take a look at some brick, I don't see a problem.
Okay. I'm sure, I don't even know which building this is.
It's right on Banks across the
Oh, the one you
side.
knocked down.
Oh,
that one.
That one you knocked down.
That one that you knocked down.
The one next to Cardinal.
Next to what?
Cardinal.
It's,
It's a telephone book.
So which one are you proposing?
Yeah, somebody come up and show us.
Yeah, can someone show us which one you're
Show us
proposing?
which
Was that on?
which is the original.
I'm gonna warn you that you do not want to approve those without seeing the physical sample.
These are
The
3
pictures are
different-
not good enough.
We'll put whatever.
Yeah, you need to see the physical sample
Which,
because the printer is
all
not
right.
calibrated.
Okay.
Yeah, it's.
So can I make a proposal? We're getting together for 5:45 in a week. 7 days. We'll be here Monday. Bring them in. Bring in the physical sample.
You need to see the physical.
Okay? And then, and we've got 7 more days. And we'll pick one. Okay? If you don't mind. That would be,
Sorry.
you know how printers are.
Are those close enough, or if I bring in those 3 samples?
we don't know.
We don't know.
No.
I mean, the only thing is, you're not gonna have the original brick,
which is,
right? I mean,
Which is
you're not gonna have the
understandable.
physical original brick.
That's okay.
To sit there and look at it with another brick sample.
We'll bring in the samples.
Please.
You're not, all of the brick will be new brick, correct?
Yeah.
And it's just the detail pieces
detail.
that you've kept, right? The things in the warehouse, right? Like the pediments and capstone.
We've kept that, a lot of it, we had to demolish the building.
Right, no, I understand, but you
So,
kept the pieces.
We fabricated all new pieces
Okay,
based on the design that originally existed, just to be clear.
but the
Okay, so
brick
you're
will be
saying-
all new
Right.
brick, right? So the brick will be all new brick, you're not having pieces
Right, so it
of
doesn't
old
have to
brick.
match the old
Right, it doesn't have to
brick.
match the old, we just have to be
We just have to have the
satisfied
same
with
concept.
what is chosen
Yes.
to be
Yes.
put into place.
Yes, so if you could bring those 3, bring them in.
A
Bring 'em
picture
in.
of the previous building would be helpful, just to understand the
Right.
warmth or the
Yeah,
whatever.
Right,
we have
and
that.
then just
All right,
bring the
we'll
samples.
bring in those 3 samples.
Right, for next
Okay.
Monday, and we'll do that.
Thank you.
All right, gonna get a motion to adjourn.
Move it.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank
make it nice and so you can see it on the TV.
Oh, sorry. And Mayor Moore,
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton,
Yes.
James Bonanno.
Yes.
Jim Henry.
Yes.
Jennifer Souter. Eric Gallipo.
Yeah.
And Chairwoman Kurzak.
Yes.
It's a wrap.